Bitcoin and Ethereum, what's his next move? Let's find out in the charts here, shall we? Oh my goodness, Bitcoin. Whew, when you see this, you know, right? We've talked about this time and time again. This is not good. We're going to talk about that and more and more. And look, in today's episode, we'll look at the larger time frames and see what else we see. And man, I don't think you're going to like to see what I have to show you in the larger time frames, because it's pretty scary out there, especially since, you know, we should be well over $100,000 by now, and we are not. And everybody's wondering what's going on with Bitcoin. Why is it doing this? Why are we here? And I've talked about this in other shows, right? And the U.S. government are behind this move down. I don't think it's really official. I don't think this is the real price that Bitcoin should be at. But this is where we're at, because they can manage assets like this fairly easily. And you can check out that video in the description below. Anyways, we're going to trade this. We're going to survive whatever happens. We're just going to let the market price decide what we are going to do in order to trade this, in order to gain more income. We're going to accept what the market price is on the charts and trade based on that. And that's all we can do. So we're going to do that for the rest of the year, or how long it takes before Bitcoin gets to 100K and more. We're going to basically work on that. And I really think that, we're going to still bounce here, right? I really think that we'll get to 100K, but we're going to talk about how it's going to get there and when it's going to get there in today's episode. It's a little scary, but hey, we're going to trade it, right? We can't hate it, can't date it. We're just going to trade it. And yeah, if you're interested in trading it, you can trade it at bybit.davincij15.com and get a huge bonus, $4,100. That's huge. Oh my God. So make sure you head over to bybit.davincij15.com or femex.davincij15 and also receive a bonus there. All right, let's get on to the charts, because, you know, this is what you came for. And wow, well, we talked about this earlier, right? This M is not good. Oh boy. The good thing is, like I've also mentioned, right, as we bounced off of that bottom there after the Royal Express elevator to hell. Geesh. We are. I knew that this is not going to be left alone. This is not going to be a V bottom, meaning that we're going to continue higher just like that. It's just not regular. The odds of that we're in a V bottom here is like, you know, less than 10%. And so we have to trade based on that. So there was lots of opportunities to short this. As you can see, as this bounced up, I knew that this would be a good short. I was talking about that on the weekend, but I didn't post any information about that. Sorry about that. I was just in the what's it called, the party mode at the Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi, and I just wasn't in the mode to trade or to do videos on that weekend. But hey, I'm back from that weekend, and I don't have any plans. I've actually canceled a few plans, right, so that I can make sure that I'm here for you guys during this really rough times. All right, so right now we're gonna see a Bitcoin bounce off this bottom right here, and you can see that we're doing that, but this bounce might not be very powerful. Might only head up to the 13 MA and roll right over on the 4 hour. You could trade these lower time frames, right? But you know, it's easier to get wicked out because they move. These things are manipulated on the lower time frames a lot easier. But hey, you can still do it, and you just have to accept the losses as they come. Remember not to put more than 5% of any of your wealth, total wealth that you've deposited in exchange in any one trade, and you'll have no limit on the amount of trades that you can make, because, well, you're only going to take 5% of whatever you have left. So that keeps you in the game, right? And that's the key thing, right? All right, I'll play from a position of strength and don't get wrecked. And key thing about not getting wrecked is that you only bet a small amount of money each time you do a bet. All right, so let's decide. I've decided to basically put a buy order somewhere below the 78.6, right? I'm not gonna do. I wasn't gonna do a Hail Mary because the percentage chance between here and there are a little high. So I decided to place a buy order just below that, which is around the 43,600-ish area to buy Bitcoin should it hold the lower levels here. So this is what I'm betting, that it's going to hold the lower levels at $42,000. If it does, I'm going to take this run, because there will be a run here. I feel it might not, right? It might not pan out, and that's why you walk away from your trade once it fails. You don't hold it forever, and then once it does reverse itself, we'll see. Obviously, to see this reversal, we have to see higher highs and higher lows. What are we seeing right now? We're not seeing that at all, right? What are we seeing? We're seeing lower highs. This high is lower over here, right? So, and then we're seeing lower lows, right? This is a low, right? That's smiling at you, which is not good. And this is a low. So this is also not good. So effectively, the trend is your friend till the end. And what is the trend right here? Because we've gotten a lot of lower highs and higher lows, lower lows, the trend is down. So what we want to see is Bitcoin actually do the opposite now, seeing higher highs and higher lows, right? Basically the opposite of what we're having right here. We're going to wait for that, of course, right? It's going to be interesting, right? Of course, we're gonna have to see if this actually bounces off of here, and then of course it's going to retest this bottom and then create or get close to the bottom, right, to scare anybody out, and then bounce up and down, and we have to look for that, basically a pattern sort of like this, where we come down, right, and we bounce off, and then we go down again, and then we come back up, and then we come back down, and then there we go. We've got a clear pattern. The Bitcoin is going higher. Now, how high is going to go? Well, if we look on the daily, right? So let's just assume this was that bottom is the actual bottom, right? That where the 42,000 is the actual bottom. What we'll do, right, is do a fib retracement on the daily to see where this thing could actually go to before we maybe even think about closing off a trade or doing something like that. You can see the 61.8 is at around the $58,000 mark. I know that seems far away and unlikely, but that's a point where we'll have to reassess our trade, see if Bitcoin can actually continue higher. Now, what we can say, if Bitcoin was to be able to continue higher, is if it blasts up above this trend line. If it stops at the trend line, right, that's going to be a long ways out, it seems, before we actually turn around. So we might be into January, Jesus, before we turn around and see this. This is really bad, right? Before we actually see this. Now, we could see a big green candle up, but unlikely because there's a lot of people who are waiting down here to buy. They're looking. This is what this candlestick represents. That a lot of people sold into this, but there was a lot of people who bought down here. So what the market tends to do is it tends to retest the bottom, those buyers, to see, hey, are you sure you want to buy down there? Are you absolutely sure? Because we want to make sure. And so the market tends to test it a few more times, but then the bears get scared. They only go so far, and then they drop off because the buying power comes in too heavy for them. So we're looking for that when Bitcoin decides to reverse. If that doesn't happen, right, I can tell you, this is not going to end well. We have to hold. Let's head over to the longer time frames, like the monthly actually. This does not bode well, right? As you can see, of course it's game over at this level at 35,000, right? But it's really a big problem, huge problem, massive, colossal problem if we do not hold the 40,000 ish level, and we close below a monthly close. We have a monthly close below 42,000 or 43,000 here. Wow, there's the odds of a recovery have dropped significantly for Bitcoin. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Hope we hold the lows, we don't create new ones, and we start moving higher. That's what I'm thinking we're going to do. I really think that we're going to probably have that dip maybe around the 15th, which is actually the 15th is tomorrow. So we might not have the dip for Bitcoin today. And we might have a little bit of a pop up and then come back down for tomorrow sometime. So be patient. Maybe you might want to get into a short on the way up, and then just hit that short. Let's just see if we can come up with a short, right, in a short amount of time here, so that we can hit that short. Should we see the market there? So yes, you can see. Let's take a look at the fib levels, which Bitcoin loves to follow the Fibonacci sequences very easily. So you can see right here, 38.2. The 38.2 is at the 47.69 level. We might just only hit the 38.2, but should we break through that, you can see the 61.8, which is the $48,800 level, should be your next target to hit the short on Bitcoin. And of course, your stop loss should be, of course, right up here at 50,000-ish level. So don't go too crazy. Don't lose too much money. Should Bitcoin decide to, hey, this was actually the bottom, and that's always a possibility. So don't discount Bitcoin just yet, because you know what? Bitcoin likes to say, this is Bitcoin to the US dollar a lot. So don't get trapped. All right, so let's go down to the lower time frames, a little bit lower to the weekly, and see how bad it's looking there. Ouch. So the 200 week moving average is too far away. That's good. That's really good. Let's see here. We have the 20. Let's see here. The 20 to 50 moving average. Jesus. Oh man, we cannot have a weekly close. We just can't have a weekly close below the 50 week moving average. That's darkness. Not complete darkness, but it's darkness. So we don't want that, right? Yeah, thank goodness the 200 period weekly average is way down there. Unlikely that we're coming there. So weeklies actually bounced last time off of the 50 week moving average. So that's good. We want to see this again, right? So that we are continued in an upwards trend on the weekly, because that's all that matters. As long as we have an upwards trend on the long term, we're still good. Right now, we're still good. We definitely can't have a weekly close below the $40,000 level. Just can't happen. Just can't happen. Or we were going to start to reverse the trend. The trend still hasn't been reversed, right? But once we have a close below that, and even if we come back up, I would suggest that you actually hit a short on Bitcoin, because the trend is most likely reversed here. Should we break this, come down to the 35-ish level, come back up, maybe to the 61.8, and then boom. I think that would be it. That would be the end for the cycle of Bitcoin. Unfortunately, that would not be nice, but that looks more and more like a possibility, because I believe the Federal Reserve has got control over Bitcoin. Okay, so I'm doing this live in front of everyone, and also if you're interested in watching this live, you can come on down to DaVinciJ15.com and subscribe and see what we're doing over there. So we're having lots of fun in the chat group. Lots of people providing different trading techniques, and also providing different trades, and you can see my whole portfolio and see what I'm trading, what I'm buying, and so forth. Let's head over to Ethereum to close off today. Ethereum, again, it's looking exactly like Bitcoin. We talked about, V bottoms are not exactly a common thing to have happen, and so we have to come back down. And you see Ethereum, you could have hit the little what's it called, the Hail Mary trade right here, and we can see that we could definitely get a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Actually, probably gonna actually take the Hail Mary, might work out. If you did hit the Hail Mary for some reason, because I know I didn't post about it, and there it is, you'd have to take profits approximately right about before this last high. And most likely Ethereum will break through that high because it loves to do that, and then wipe everybody out and wipe out all the bulls and the bears, and then go down to wipe out the bulls. So don't be surprised if this pans out. But the most likely scenario is that it fails at the 61.8, and this Hail Mary is not going to work out for you. So make sure you set your stops to break even if you did take this trade, because hey, this is not looking good. So we're definitely head up to 38.2. You can see the 13 EMAs right there, waiting for it, calling Ethereum over, right? And so because of that, you probably have a little bit of a short-term trade available to you, should you wish to trade on the shorter time frames. You can see we've already created a nice W, and so and also a cup and handle. Wow, right here, there's a nice cup and handle pattern, right? And so this could take us as far as, let's just see, breakout, because I don't think it quite broke out of this W here. And so if we take the cup and handle, you see that it comes up to almost to the 61.8. So most likely we're heading up there. And if we do, right, and you have this trade on, right, I suggest you close it, because it's most likely that we're going to reverse back down. Now, you could always take a partial profits, and if you want to take this trade, right, you would do so by basically buying approximately here. You could buy here, or you could wait for a little bit lower, but if you were to buy this right here, since it's a W, we're not going to get, this is a 1-to-1 trade basically, and you don't want to get too greedy, because everyone who's in trading, right, knows the saying, right? Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs, well, they get slaughtered. So don't be a pig, right? Take profits, right, as you trade. That's the key thing. Take profits every time you trade, because that's how you make money in this world, in this this particular asset class once you're trading. So, looking at the long-term picture of Ethereum, let's just take a look at the long-term Ethereum picture, because that should be interesting as well. So there it is, the daily. You can see, wow, well, we're in a clear downtrend, right? Once we broke this uptrend here, it's now reversed into a downtrend, and things are not looking too spicy here for Ethereum. I'm surprised it's doing this. We did break out of a huge cup and handle, and we're coming back at it. What's that all about? Normally a breakout like this would continue higher. Maybe retest of the entry, the breakout entry, and then off we go. But this is now reversed, and we have to accept it. And it's reversed in a big way, right? Because we broke these lows, right? Which is the retest of the top of the cup and handle, and so this cup and handle may fail on us. So we have to accept that. I wouldn't like to see Ethereum on the daily come back down to the 200 period moving average, but this looks like that's what it wants to do. It wants to retest the 200 period moving average, and should it hold, we're heading back higher. All right, with that said, let's take a look at the dominance, and you can see the dominance has tested the lows again. I would expect the dominance to continue higher here. That means the alts are going to get a little bit burned, and most likely up to the 61.8, which is the 44.7%, and then head back down. And then once we do, that's going to be the epic bull run for all times. For if you're pricing your alts in Bitcoin, you're going to make a ton of money. And the best way to do that, right, is to use the little old lady strategy. Yes, things are looking really bad here on the red. As you can see, things are rolling over, except for the main ones. But these things will definitely have their day. They're going to probably roll over and then retest the lows. So that if they do, right, you should have some dry powder to pick some of this stuff up and for the next bull run, because it's going to be absolutely epic, right? And if you want to learn how to trade the little lady strategy, you can head over to davincicodes.net/videos, and you can learn the little lady strategy so you can earn more Bitcoin. Why do you want to earn more Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin's real. Bitcoin's here to stay, and you need to be a part of it. Thanks for watching.